Good afternoon. We start as we close in on 4 o'clock with Denver police saying that they've identified who killed a popular East Colfax community activist last month. They say they've arrested 3 people but are still searching for a 4th suspect.
Ma Kaing was unloading her car when a stray bullet hit and killed her outside her apartment. 9 News reporter Cole Sullivan is live at Denver Police headquarters with details on this investigation. It's been a little while coming, Cole.
It has been, and Denver police say investigators have been working day and night on this case. They say those 4 suspects are all part of a gang. They've arrested 3. They're looking for a 4th, and they say there's actually a 5th person who they believe was involved as well, who they're trying to identify. Ma Kaing was a community activist in the East Colfax community. Friends describe her as the mom of the apartment building where she lived. She's the kind of person who would go by and knock on everyone's door during the pandemic to make sure that they were okay. The DPD Major Crimes Commander says he was with the family today and told them of the arrests. He says that they're glad that the arrests have happened, but it won't heal the hole in their heart that Ma Kaing left behind. Her son asked for privacy today. Investigators say they found 3 dozen shell casings in New Freedom Park, just steps from where she was killed.
These individuals had observed a vehicle that was driving around the park. They didn't recognize it and didn't believe the vehicle belonged in the area. The offenders, each armed with a handgun, shot multiple rounds at the passing vehicle as it traveled on 13th Avenue.
The suspects range in age from 18 to 20. Again, 3 are in custody. A 4th, Swa Bay, was supposed to turn himself in. He's 19 years old, but didn't show up to turn himself in. They've issued this crime alert now and a reward for his arrest. The others are in jail facing charges, or will soon face charges of first-degree murder. Back to you.
Well, this is certainly a case, Cole, that has garnered a lot of attention, in part because the community was really upset with the response they received.
Yeah, the community had 2 big points of contention they brought up in community meetings. One, a delay in 911 calls. DPD says officers were on scene within minutes despite that delay. The other major concern, violence in this park. DPD says they've worked with the community to try to increase patrols in this area.
Yeah, this story is not over, but this is a big step forward for many. All right, Cole, thanks.
Former Soviet Union President Mikhail Gorbachev has died.
Gorbachev assumed the leadership of the Soviet Union in 1985 and would end up serving as its final president until it was dissolved in 1991. His leadership marked an era of reform for the region after decades of Cold War and nuclear threats as well. He was known for what was called perestroika and glasnost. These are words that mean reform and openness. Gorbachev's time in office was marked by summit talks with President Reagan that resulted in a partial nuclear disarmament. And Reagan, of course, also issued that iconic call to him to end communism in Europe in 1987, when he famously said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." 2 years later, the Berlin Wall would come down. In 1991, that's when the Soviet Union collapsed. Mikhail Gorbachev was 91 years old. Today, Robert Deere said they want to turn me into a zombie. He is the man accused of killing 3 people, wounding 8 others at the Planned Parenthood in Colorado Springs back in 2015.
In court today in Denver, federal prosecutors are trying to convince a judge to force Deere to take medication that they say would restore his mental competency and allow him to stand trial. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow has been in court all day. And Matt, there have been several outbursts as well from Deere during this hearing.
That's right, Kim. In addition to the zombie comment, Deere also said that it was against his religion to take antipsychotic medication. And when prosecutors said that taking the medication would allow Deere to take part in his own defense, Deere said simply, quote, "There is no defense. I did it." Deere has been charged in both state and federal court for the 2015 attack, but both cases have been on hold for years because Deere has repeatedly been found not competent to stand trial. A psychologist for the Federal Bureau of Prisons said today in court that Deere has refused to take antipsychotic medication that prosecutors say would likely make Deere competent to stand trial. So today, prosecutors were in court arguing that Deere be forced to take the medication. 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson talked about the legal hurdles that prosecutors have to clear to be successful.
The medicine has to be medically appropriate. It has to be reasonably likely to restore the individual to competency without creating side effects that interfere with his ability to help his counsel. And you then weigh the governmental interests. That really focuses on the seriousness of the case. And you really can't get a more serious case than the Planned Parenthood murders.
The hearing is scheduled to conclude sometime tomorrow. No word yet from the judge on when a decision is expected. Kim and Tom?
Well, this certainly has been going on for quite some time already, this back and forth. We will continue to follow it. Thanks for the update, Matt.
President Joe Biden stressed the need for law enforcement funding on a visit to Pennsylvania today.
He said that the police officers hold many roles within communities.
When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police. Fund the police. And give them, we expect them to do everything. We expect them to protect us, to be psychologists, and to be sociologists. I mean, we expect you to do everything.
The president is out right now promoting his Safer American plan to bolster police forces across the nation, trying to reduce gun crime. It includes hiring and training 100,000 police officers just over the next 5 years. A judge has granted a temporary restraining order that puts part of Boulder County's new gun laws on hold. Under the order that was granted today, Boulder County won't be able to enforce its new bans on buying or selling assault weapons and high-capacity magazines while the case moves forward. The ban on rapid-fire triggers remains in place. The Rocky Mountain gun owners and National Foundation for Gun Rights had filed the complaint. So now Boulder, Superior, Lafayette, and Louisville, they've also agreed to consolidate the cases, meaning the RMGO lawsuits against those 4 cities will now be treated as one, since all of those gun laws share the same language. The hearings to consider whether those laws are unconstitutional are set for later this fall.
Let's take a live look outside on this Tuesday afternoon. It's hot out there. Definitely feels like summer, which it still is, but August is almost over, Kathy, and a lot of people have been talking about it's been a hot summer.
It has. It absolutely has. I think 55 days with 90 or better, which is way above average. In the month of September, the average high is 78, which sounds amazing. But for the rest of this week and next week, 90s. We really see a long stretch of warm, dry weather days, and we'll probably be talking about fire weather again before too long. Outside we go right now. We've got mostly sunny skies, a little bit of haze in the distance there. Decent travel in and out of the high country today. Look how green the hillside is there with all of that available moisture from showers last week. Water vapor imagery shows all of the water south and east of Colorado this hour. High pressure kind of our dominant feature for now, but it will allow in a weak weather system tomorrow that will bring thunderstorms to some parts of our state. 91 in Denver today, 90 in Lamar, 88 in Eagle, and 95 degrees in Grand Junction. Ozone Action Day, this has just been canceled out, but may be reinstated again tomorrow. Partly cloudy looking off toward the west at Fort Collins, and a little bit of haze moving into the Boulder area. Humidity values are coming down. Winds will be on the increase overnight in advance of that weak shortwave that'll come through. There's a chance of a few thunderstorms over eastern Colorado tomorrow afternoon, but highs will soar back into the 90s where we saw them today. Coming up, we're going to break down that Wednesday storm outlook and look ahead to the forecast for the upcoming holiday weekend that's coming up.